the front door. I couldn't get in with the battery's dead. I'm like, why you haven't changed this battery yet? Because I'm running late.
I had to go
Anyway,
change
babe,
that
we here.
on a keypad today too.
Okay.
One of the places, yes. All right, we're going live.
Okay. Let me turn this audio up because I can barely hear you a little bit.
Okay. Well, I want to welcome everyone to this is Thursday, Thriving Thursday Live. And so we have Resenta back again this evening. And we have Charlene is joining us as well. And I want to say, everyone, hello, another week.
Hey, hi, you guys. How are you doing?
All right.
We in here. Look, I love Charlene background.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Christmas Eve. And you look, you guys, it's my birthday. So look, I love Jiggle Christmas.
Yes, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yes. And so our audience there, again, it's Thursday, Thriving Thursday. So please go ahead and subscribe. Mm-hmm. Hit the notification bell so anytime we go live, you will get the notification. And we want you to go ahead and share out there. Actually, while we're doing the introduction and getting everything started, I'm going to go and check. We at one time we had Zoom, and I actually noticed there are a couple of people that registered for the Zoom this evening. And so if you're out there, if you are able, if you see this Zoom link, then ignore the Zoom link and just join us on Facebook and also on YouTube. And we're also this evening, we're live on Instagram as well. So go ahead and share this information, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Charlene, go ahead and welcome everyone in for this evening.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us for our Thriving Thursday conversation. We have the fantastic Miss Resenta, who really just showed up and showed out last week. So I think we're going to have her show up and show out again today. But before we get into that, let me just introduce you to First Home Alliance, tell you a little bit about First Home Alliance, who we are, what we do, the services that we provide, and where we provide those services. It's always important that we talk about the inception of First Home Alliance. Why? Because there's so many people who probably sitting on the fence in terms of home ownership. And just, I feel like this is such an inspiring story. Mr. Laws, our president and founder, where the inception came from for First Home Alliance, his mother purchased her first home at the age of 65. And so after serving his country, he decided to serve the community. And again, this story is so important because it just lets everyone know there is no age restriction. There's no time restriction when we talk about purchasing a home and building wealth assets. And so I think that's why I always start our Thriving Thursday with telling that story, because I don't know who's watching who may be, 63 and like, hey, wait a minute, I can purchase. And so, yes, so that's how the inception of First Home Alliance came about. Now, what is our mission? Our mission is to increase home ownership, sustainable home ownership to low to moderate income family, along with serving our veteran community. The services that First Home Alliance provides is pre-purchase counseling as well as education. We have a first-time homebuyers class every once a month in the Northern Virginia area. The counseling, sometimes people really think that I'm a realtor or that Larry's a realtor, and we are absolutely not. We are here to help you in that process and build that team. So pre-purchase counseling, we help you build a team. Make sure you're in a good situation, affordable situation before you move forward. So that's our pre-purchase services. Our loss mitigation services. So sometimes when I say loss mit, people are like, girl, what you talking about? So loss mitigation, what am I talking about? So loss mitigation services are when the individual currently owns and may be experiencing a hardship due to death, disability, divorce, or these days, life just lifing. And so if that is you, First Home Alliance will act as an advocate on your behalf to discuss your file with your servicer and get you in a more affordable situation. But the number one goal with loss mitigation services is to make sure you, the homeowner, the borrower, does not experience foreclosure. All right. We also offer rental counseling. There's a lot of people who are going through it, still going through it from COVID. And so we offer those services as well, along with debt management, credit restoration, and emergency preparedness. We learned through COVID that, hey, you can never have enough. And when you think that something can't happen, it might. You see, we dealt with the same thing that maybe our ancestors dealt with in 1918. Who'd have thought that we would have dealt with something that they did? And so emergency preparedness is also something that First Home Alliance offers. Now, where these services offered, we are located in Virginia and Maryland, as well as the South Side of Chicago, but that means absolutely nothing to us. We are virtual. So wherever you are located, First Home Alliance will be able to assist. If any of the things, the services that I just went over piqued your interest, we want you to stay tuned. Listen to the conversation. At the end of our conversation, we'll talk to you about how you can get in contact with us. So with that being said, I will throw it back to Mr. Laws.
All right, thank you, Charlene. Thank you, everyone. And so tonight we are welcoming back to our show, our Thursday Live, is Racinta. Racinta, she's she's a an international world traveler, and God knows where she's right.
You gotta say that.
Are you in Georgia? Are you in Georgia?
Huh? You said what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, where are you? Where are you joining us from?
Look, I'm in Atlanta, you guys. It's my birthday, and I committed to Larry and First Alliance, and I'm still here. And I showed up, like literally, barely made it because I couldn't get to my daughter's home. But I'm here in her office at her house, and I'm here happy to be a part to help. So, and someone said, "So you mean you're gonna go on with Larry and it's your birthday?" Absolutely. I committed to you, so I'm here, and I forgot it was my birthday. But hey, I'm getting old now. You guys' birthday is birthday, so we're here.
Yes, well, happy birthday, and thank you for sharing that time with us. And so I really appreciate, and I'm quite sure our audience is going to get a lot out of this, and you're going to empower them with some great knowledge tonight. So I really appreciate it. And again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Tonight, we're gonna, of course, I know that you highlight a lot of different things. We talk about mindset, but tonight we're gonna, bring it across lines and really bring that mindset into. We're talking about credit, protection, and how important is credit? Yes.
Well, mindset and credit go hand in hand. It's not where you're at, you guys, is where you can go. Like, we all been in tough spots in our life, and life be lifing, just like Charlene just mentioned, right? But if you don't reach out to people to get help, guess what? You stay stuck. And that's why I like going around training. I talk a little bit too much, but I try to do more of empowering, letting people know it's not where you're at, where you're going. And in life, guess what? You can go wherever you choose if your mindset is focused and you keep all the noise out, but you decide, look, I'm right here, lay it all out on the table. I call it a brain dump. Once you do that brain dump, you take momentum and action.
Yes. And with this, some people, I think, think of credit as something that identifies them, and it's
right.
Like you walk around in the store and everyone can see, that 650 or 700 or whatever you have.
And it does not. Your talent, your gift is where your gift in your heart, what you're able to do to other people. Like Larry said, you can start over. Larry and I know if you got bad credit right now, I done took a 400 all the way back to a 700 in 14 months, you guys.
Yes.
And sometimes it's a little twerking. And even though you have late pays, just know, even with home ownership with late pays, you can work on your credit this month, and then 12 months, 13 months. As long as you don't have any late pays, you can still close on a home. And sometimes have one or two, and the lender can be a little lenient.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. You started talking about that, I think, last time a little bit about Freddie and Fannie, and some of the other, they put it out there, and basically going back to a lot of manual underwrite,
Right.
I think manual or desktop or whatever. And so they're looking at that, and, credit score itself may not be the major impact in reference to qualifying ownership. Yes. And so, it's a lot to do with cash flow. Do you have the cash flow?
Yeah. A lot of things are changing. I just came back from the Operation Hope, which I thank God for them still like giving. That's why I wasn't worried about my birthday, you guys. I'm like, God, I'm just going to serve you simple. It's not about anything anymore, but going out here serving for you to put me with these great people. And they say, look, we see you. Let's be a part. You be a part of us, and we help you. And go out there and help more people. And just with that, I'm like, look, I'm ready to show up, help people. And what Larry just mentioned is about credit scores. And I just say the next 24 months, it's going to be all the way gone with home ownership. We're going into a wave where America, we're trying to help financial literacy. So it's going to be about a great bank account, a safety bank account, savings in order to say, okay, I can afford this house. This is what the payments are. And they're going to turn around and take your income, your deposits, and qualify you. Because some people do great deposits, but guess what? They might have had a divorce, they might have had this, or they might have an instant life situation that they have to go and buy another house or do whatever. Guess what? If you're managing your account right, you guys, you can still qualify for a mortgage. And Wells Fargo is actually going to implement it in phases next year. Don't know what month, but I know they're looking at it right now. Truist was the one that was there also. So yes, credit score is going to be obsolete when it comes to purchasing a home. But we still want you to work on your credit score. We want you to pay people, right? But qualifications on FHA is going to die down and die away because we're going back to America. We help with education, but where they forgot, we didn't do financial literacy. So they're going to put that initiative into our school systems to help with home ownership, just basically help understanding with our kids age 47 where they can be at when they get to high school with credit, and then start putting financial literacy in the school system in high school of getting that first credit card to try to figure out how could I evolve with credit instead of just saying, oh, I can mess my credit up and change it. No, we don't want that anymore, you guys. We want to bring forward action.
Yes. And I like that. I when I have time, we have different workshops. A lot of times in our first time home buyer workshop, we only have a very small block of time to actually concentrate on the credit. And a lot of the course that we give on a monthly basis, the in-person, is what I call a capstone course. So you only get one session on credit. And so, but actually, when we do the deep dive into credit, when we're doing financial literacy and, when we're giving to groups, I break the credit down. In reference to when it originally started, it was about your reputation. So if you was a farmer, you said, I need seed so I can, plant. They was like, you don't have money, and they said no, but I have a reputation. I paid you last year. And
you got skill. Yes. Yeah, because you guys, we are so gifted. Even though we have our jobs, we might be doing Etsy on the side right now. We might be doing DoorDash on the side right now. Think about adding the income to get you where you can get to qualify. And most importantly, like I said, action and momentum. And first of all, mindset.
Yes.
Throw it on the table. Let people know it's trustworthy. And say, look, where do I begin? Because we lack the knowledge. If we don't ask, we lack the knowledge.
Yes. And that mindset, a lot of us are, we may be stuck in where we are or where we
think. I think we've all been there, Larry.
Yeah, like when you think you're here,
You can't get out of bed. Like, oh my God. Especially during COVID. I thought I was going back into 2008, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're coming again. But guess what, you guys? It's called economics.
Yes, I thought that was going around out of food, so I was trying to eat everything. There's nothing on the grocery shelves. I need to make sure I have reserve, and so I gained quite a bit.
Yeah, look, I literally, you guys, during COVID, had to get a picture frame. I printed out mindset things, right? If this happened, I'm gonna go and do this. If that happens, I'm gonna go and do this. And I had to control my mind because I was locked in 08 again. And I could barely get out of bed. I didn't know what days it was. We all locked in the house, the whole 9 yards. And when Michelle Obama talked about that, and I was like, wow, I'm not the only one. And I had to get up. When I got up in the morning, you guys, I had a picture frame with food, with going in, plant a plant, because you can go to Home Depot and get plants and put them in your yard, right? I had all these different things to control my mind so I won't go backwards and be stuck. Right. And only thing I can tell you, it works. When you see yourself when you get out of that bed, and if you're really, really, truly going through something, I tell you, don't lay in the bed, get right up. Count, get right up, and go in there and take a shower and just be like, look, I'm blessed, I'm highly favored. Whatever you got to do, what mantra you got to say to yourself, get out there and do it.
Yes.
And it's tough. I just tell you, it life be life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Charlene had to get out and say something. So what do you have to say, Charlene, about this?
No, I definitely agree. I remember during COVID, Larry used to say when it first started, none of the team would put our cameras on, right? And so he was like, "No, I think everybody should turn their cameras on." And I had this whole attitude because I was like, "He did it, right? I was 2 tons of fun. I was 2 tons of fun, and I did not want to see that, right?" And so he said, "No, I really think everybody should turn their camera on." So as I started turning on my camera, I realized, I used to go in the office. I'm a person.
Right. You showed up for yourself.
Yes. And so I'm a person who would get dressed, earrings, all that kind of stuff. When COVID first started, would have on pajamas and like
in darkness, right?
Yes, right. And so we started having to turn on the camera. So I had to get up, I had to comb my hair, I would get dressed, put on perfume, all that stuff. And you guys are so right that the mind is so strong.
The mind is strong. Yes. But let me tell y'all what I did. This is really crazy, right? For me, the office, they said, okay, next week you can open up the office and go back into the office. My preferred lender called me and was like, look, I don't know what we're going to do, but they just dropped these rates to 3% and they got a 0%, whatever. You got to get out there. And they gave us a week before we can go back into the public, right? To the offices. Do you guys know what I did? I walked for a whole week in Alabama at 12 to 1 to reset my mind in the heat, literally. Yeah. And that's when I was walking one morning. I'm like, you know what? What about that book I read, Intentional Living? Let me call. And I found out that Maxwell had a coaching thing, and I found it in the heat. But I had to reset and penetrate my mind to get my mind set. I will live and I will not die. I'm going to go into this office. I'm going to set this office up, and you be at that end. I'll be at this end. You go in the house. I had a closing. I sat in the car. We rotated and went in the office. But when I tell you that mindset change, I soared like crazy. And I'm like, wow.
Yes.
And, you know, it's crazy. You're right,
Charlie. Larry talking about me. He was 2 tons of fun too.
Oh, yeah.
Larry, what did you do? Virginia, DC, you didn't go nowhere, I know, right?
I didn't know where. I was just changing sweatpants. That was about it.
Oh, yeah, because you're military. You're military, so you guys didn't talk about these in your quarantine days in the woods. You didn't talk about this era coming.
Yeah.
Because
we go in that survival mode, but also, we started being more conservative, in reference to, for myself, I was shaving my head and everything, but, start, basically preparing to be stalemated in one spot and not, but we soon turned it around. We started seeing ourselves on camera, one thing. And we saw ourselves on camera. We actually had to come out and do a recording because our annual event, we have our annual event every year. I think we're about 14, 15 years now. It's a gala. And so during that year, 2020 it was a virtual gala. And so we met up at the hotel, rented a room for a hotel, and it was Charlene and I, maybe one of the presenters for this the awardees, and we had an MC. And what it is, I couldn't get into my tuxedo. And so on the virtual, I stood behind a podium, and so if I would have came behind that podium, it would have been a mess. So everyone was taking pictures from the chest up, Yeah, but after that, we knew the next year we had to get back in. I'm gonna say we had to get back in uniform, and so we had to get right. But we did quite a bit during that time. COVID, very similar to what happened during the crisis in 2008, and during COVID, the need for our services increased.
They became higher.
People started getting behind on mortgages and things of that sort, rental assistance and things of that sort. And so actually our organization expanded. And so we actually opened up an office in Chicago. So you guys went virtual and did a lot of Zoom.
Yes,
we opened up an office in Chicago. So we actually had to start traveling. And so when we started traveling, looking at the parks and things, we was doing festivals and fairs and things like that, and looking at some of the pictures. I mean, we look back because we take pictures everywhere. It was like, do not put that picture out there. Do not put that picture.
That's what I love about you and Charlene, to have a ride or die like Charlene to work for 19 years off of your vision, Larry, to go and serve based upon your mom wanted more people to own homes, where you created financial literacy, education, workshops to bring people forward. Like, how do that make you feel with your mindset? And when it get tough, what do? You
talking about me and Charlene?
You, Larry.
Well, because I just started letting Charlene know when she said that I started it for a job. Really, it wasn't, I had a job, but really it became my mission. And so this was my mission. In the military, we all had a mission. Matter of fact, each unit you went to, they have a mission statement, and we worked towards that. And I really enjoyed that because one is, it wasn't about the I, it was always about the team. I mentioned, one of the presentation I was doing in reference to, it's not so much about your role, but it's the goal. It's the goal. And so with that, I had opportunity.
I like that what you just said. Now you say it's not about the role, it's
not about your role, it's about the goal.
I love it. I love it.
That's that teamwork and having a mission and a purpose.
That's
and
right.
So, yes. And so, when you're starting something, you always start with a vision. And so I could see things, that I was pursuing, and things where I wanted things to be, where I wanted communities to be. Like this Thriving, finally, we named this Thriving Thursday, but in my vision was to help build communities that thrive. And so that comes with generational wealth. It's giving back to your community and things of that sort. And so with that, coming up with that, when I was transitioning out of the military, it took me about 3 years to transition out, deciding that I would get out of the military and not, stay in there for life. And so with that, looking at, my wife started a business for her, which is a family business. She really enjoyed it. She could work 7-8 days a week because she really enjoyed what she was doing.
Yeah, because she was living on purpose.
Yes.
When you live on purpose, and when you live on purpose, it creates momentum. Like me going to that event last week and being put in that room and saying, we see you, we want you at this table. We're going to help you business-wise. We're going to clean. We're going to get you where you can mimic our program. And I'm like, look, I'm ready to work 10, 14 hours. Okay, I'm ready.
Yes.
Because you're serving. When you serve and you got a purpose, the money will come. I tell people that all the time. Like, we're going to go through tight situations in business and life, but that's when your faith, your resiliency, it grows. But you're right. Like, Larry, for you to say that said a lot. For your wife to want to work 8 days, not 7 days, but 8 days.
8 days. I had to tell her that we got to close the shop one day a week at least. Because I wasn't getting fed anymore. It's like I was living by myself. And because she worked at one of the major banks as a teller, and then she moved to customer service, and she was like, this is okay, but I really would like to do this. And so we
was getting fulfilled.
Soul searching, and that's what we was able to develop, and she loved it. So when I retired, I wanted something that, I could pull a watch. I don't wear a watch. I haven't watched. So I stopped wearing watches when I retired from the military. So when I retired, I pulled my watch off and never wore one since, maybe for a picture or so. But I wanted to do something. Well, I did not have to set an alarm clock. I wasn't concerned about the time, that I really enjoyed doing it. And so I realized how happy my mom was after she purchased a home. She did a transformation. She was always an outgoing person. She did things in the community, mostly in the church. But once she purchased a home, she started doing more things in the general community and not so much just in the church. She became a foster grandmom, grandparent.
Wow, that's nice.
Minister, GEDs and things like that. She started doing different things. And it was the home ownership that really changed her. It changed her whole attitude. She was different. Wow. At 65 years old, she's a younger person.
And she probably gave a sacrifice. God, if I get this home, you know what? I'm going to go out and serve more. And And I think that was my thing. Like, I really just, craziest thing about, we say women sacrifice. Only thing I wanted my kids was to graduate from college, do more, because I wasn't a college graduate. I just wanted them to do more. Well, the oldest now, industrial engineer, MBA, youngest finna graduate chemical engineer and go to medical school. And I'm like, God, you didn't overdid it. Let me overdo it. And I just started seeking and trying to overdo it and help more people because, you know, my youngest is sort of introvert, and I coached her word. She went to Tuskegee, and it was a 1% of her making AKA because of she wasn't a legacy, right?
Right.
And only thing I can tell you, God is great because I coached her to know what to do and how to turn that switch off and on as an introvert.
Right.
And she made it. Out of, they only get 35 candidates, and they had 140 some applications, and she made it. And I was like, how did you do it? She said, well, you taught me to always figure out the systems and the setups around me. So what she did was go back. This is what I mean by mindset, you guys. She went back 5 to 10 years of all non-legacy work organizations they joined when she got there, and she realized the percentage it would be for her to make it, like it was a rare percentage.
Right.
She went and joined those organizations and then got on leadership role and did the things and did it silently. And I was like, wow, so that's why you was. She said, yeah, I knew fall I was going to make it. I just didn't want to. And I had to coach her. Look, if you don't make it, this is what we're going to do. Do I need to call? What we need to do? We need to take a trip to relax, you know. But at the end of the day, mindset had her, and I'm like, wow, she's. I can say she's an introvert, but she knows how to turn that switch off and on to receive that knowledge to get what she needs in order to move face forward and to be successful in life. And it's important for you to say that. What can you add to that, Charlene? I know we all go through this. Like you said, we got that stuck. We got that 1%. How can we get here? And we don't know how to get here. And even me, myself, I was so filled up this weekend. I do affirmations. I did 10. And the first page I filled up, that was with my daughter, with all of them. And then I did a second page. And what's scary is that second page is what the Hope Foundation is want me to do. And I was like, wow, God. You know, it's because you want to serve, and you want to serve the right way to teach the right people the right principle. But what we're doing, you guys, is not in vain. We want people to own homes, create legacy, create wealth. We go through our issues. Everybody go through it. Seek help, guidance, especially if you want to get a home, or if not, you're in the process of losing your home and you need advice. This is what Larry and Charlene do world nationwide. Even though they're in DC, Virginia areas, they service people all over. And that's what this is about, legacy.
Yeah. And Charlene, explain, I mean, talk to us. How do you feel? What is your, you know, what motivates you in helping individuals accomplish certain things?
Years ago, we went to, it was a home free event. Or no, let me go back. So when I first came on with Larry, I had never flown before. So I was 26 years old and I had never flown before. So when I got this job,
country girl.
Yes. I was so scared, but I went to a NavalWorks Training Institute, I remember. And
you was a mortgage lender, right?
So NavalWorks Training Institute is, what would you say, Larry? I don't think that.
Housing training.
Like housing authority. Got you. Okay.
But it's on a
financial.
Would you say it's a federal? Because I know they get federal funds, but I don't necessarily know if it's a federal level or anything of that nature. Okay. But it was the first time that I was put in a room with a bunch of like-minded people. You know, organizations, and I remember leaving out and calling Larry, and I was talking so fast, and I was like, "Oh, they're doing this, they're doing that," and I was just like so excited. And he's like, "Oh," but I was just talking so fast because everybody was telling me, like, because it was across the country, everyone comes together for these events or what have you. Mm-hmm. And I just remember going to that event and being so super excited of what all these people were doing for their community. So that was the first thing. The second one was I went to a Home Free USA event.
Mm-hmm.
For those of y'all who don't know about Miss Marcia Griffin with Home Free USA, it's just, it's a conference, but it's a conference that
It's in Virginia or what area? Or do she go worldwide? I mean, nationwide. What does she do?
Yeah. She's a HUD intermediate. Her organization, a HUD intermediary, but she have like 60 affiliates across the U.S. And so they have regional training and conventions every year, annually.
Nice. I love it.
It's one of those events that, and I'm human. I'm human. We see people sometimes when they're at their lowest low, like for real, they're at their lowest low. And some people are very grateful and their gratitude is there, and some aren't. Larry got me a little hammer to put underneath my head.
No problem. It don't matter what you do, they still not gonna be happy. It's an internal thing, right?
Right. So that just lets you know the type of people that we could possibly see. It got me a little hammer and go underneath my desk because the housing crisis hit. There were some housing counselors that were physically harmed during the process of trying to help people, just because families was losing it, all of this, that, and the third. Well, anyways, I went to a Home Free USA event, and I remember one of the individuals. A lot of times there's pastors that come on, and I mean they just really pour into you, and you get goosebumps type thing. But they stated that more people of color, and I can't remember which one this was, Larry, but I always kept this in my mind. More people of color owned a home in 1968 than at that time when we was at that conference, which was
absolutely. I went to I did a diversity class, the exact same thing. And even when I was at the table with John Bryan, I told him I was grateful to be at this table, right? And I thought all the homes that I sold in a short period of time was in vain. But I was able to do like almost 300 homes in 7 years, 8 years, whatever. Is because I saw the gap. I can go in a public place and do numbers in my head with DTI and student loans, and come to my office. Let's do 5 questions. But you're right, it's 44%. And that's what we're trying to get the financial literacy and get these programs in and say, look, you guys, it's hope.
It was truly mind blowing.
In 50 something years.
Yes.
Right.
I was just totally right. And it fluctuates from 36 to 44, and it never goes over. And then the counterparts at 75%.
Yes.
That part.
So when we talk about, I think the question was really like for us, especially if you are in the nonprofit world, it's a completely different world than the for-profit sector. It truly is. And I didn't know that when I first, because I came from the lending world, I was a loan processor. So Larry truly introduced me to this world that I knew nothing of. And so if you're in the nonprofit sector, there's some organizations that are really, really in terms of funding this, that, and the third, but you can't do this for money. You truly can't. You need to make money, of course, because you have a family and this, that, and the third, but it has to be something. I feel like Larry said, like you said, it was your mission. So you was going to do this regardless. You know what I mean? And so I feel like for me, 19 years in, and actually next year will be my 20th year.
With Larry, 20.
Yeah.
We'll find somebody who could be with me side by side, and we're getting out here putting this work in 20 years. That's great. That's wonderful.
I really thought about that the other day, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, ooh, because I got married a couple weeks after I had started at First Home Alliance, and so I was thinking like, ooh, I've been married 20 years, and then I've been with the agency for 20 years. And so when we talk about this in terms of what it was, that when they said that more people of color owned, and that at that time then than now, it did something to me. Like I felt some kind of way inside or what have you. And so between that and Larry's mission, his leadership, he go hard, I go hard. Like he had a heart attack and worked. I had a baby.
And see, that's what it's about. It's a multiplication process where you both are givers, and you got a giving relationship where y'all believe in the mission. And let me tell you, y'all been blessed. Larry talks about he's blessed, blessed, blessed. You are too. But most importantly, you guys are being fulfilled. Your mindset is being renewed all the time because you know how to even go to the source on some of these people that you might can't figure out. But guess what? God can.
Yes.
You just basically put it out there and say, look, this is all we can do, but let's pray over it and see what happens. And when those sometimes it works out, sometimes it's not meant for it to work out. We never know why. But at the end of the day, we did our part.
But I feel like First Home Alliance, 20 years from now, 30 years from now,
yes.
Our footprint is here and it's here to stay. We don't have commercials, that kind of stuff. A lot of our clients will say, oh, y'all help, this person, and they told me about you. Or Larry will go to an event and they'll be like, oh, you remember me? Larry don't remember nobody. Okay.
I'd be like, okay,
what was I?
Our job is to serve, right, Charlene? Yeah. We can't remember everybody we help and everybody we talk to, right, Larry?
The lady got upset at me because I had a conversation with her somewhere in Nashville like 2 years ago, and we in San Diego, and she was like, no, you said that you was going to remember me. I'm so sorry.
I told you a bald-faced lie.
Larry, you would have remembered her in North Carolina, South Carolina, but you don't remember her over in San Diego, right?
I was in San Diego, no. Maybe I was in the Eastern.
I don't even know why you told her that. Like, we all know our limitations.
Yeah. But the thing about it, he made an impression, and that impression made her remember, and then they went back to a whole different state. And she remembered whatever he dropped over to her. And I had the same
what I do remember when we have made an impact on someone's life, and I know some of it by some people tell their story, especially those stories. And believe me, it's the stories that we carry. And so you could ask me, it's a few stories that I share. It depends on what message and what stage I'm on. But I know those guys by first and last name, like David Harris. I could tell you his story, and I could, because we made a definite impact on this single parent with 2 kids that was in a 1-bedroom apartment in Arlington. And so that's an impact. You saw the trajectory of his family, where he was. A young Black male with 2 kids, and he was looking for survival. He wanted shelter. He didn't want to get kicked out of his apartment.
Right.
And 4 years later, he was purchasing a home.
Wow.
That impact, those stories, those are what I remember. But some of the other
even at Maxwell, I had a lady when we was doing Roddy with the speaker thing. She said that a year ago that I encouraged her to write a book. We was doing lunch. And so she comes with this book the last time. She was a sweetheart. She said, Rosenta, oh my gosh, I have my book, da-da-da. And she was just talking. I'm like, oh, okay. But when she told me her story, like you said, the mind is shift when you remember stories, right?
Stories, yes.
Well, her mom killed her 2 siblings, burnt them up in front of her. And then you remember that? And I talked to her when she came to Mass, and she wrote this book, and the book was so great. They was talking about putting it on the screen or doing a movie on it when she put it out there. Because I told her, I was like, look, your trauma that you buried, just put it out there. It's going to heal you, and also it's going to help you, because she became a doctor. She buried that. Her mom burned both her siblings, and she lived because she ran to the neighbor's house. And matter of fact, I'm gonna do it one testimony on when I start posting again, Testimony Tuesdays, because she did a video, and I told her, just do this video so I could put it out there whenever I start doing content on one of the Testimony Tuesdays. But she ran to her neighbor's house to save herself while the mom killed the 2 siblings. A daughter, it was her brother and sister, and the mom had mental health. Well, I think I can't remember if the mom killed herself and she died or whatever. So she worked herself to the bones education-wise, and she became a doctor, a therapist, the whole 9 yards. The neighbor helped her. And And guess what? Married, doctorate, everything, big house, 40s, everything catch up with her. She has a nervous breakdown, lose everything because she didn't understand how that trauma had affected her. Mm-hmm. So she joined the Maxwell thing, and she climbed herself back up. I mean, she went back up the chain and, got around like-minded people, and they told her it's okay. Maxwell tells his stories all the time, right. And it's a lot of stories. But at the end of the day, you see, like, oh my gosh, like another guy, he was from, Venezuela. Same thing. His dad, you remember that story? His dad killed the siblings, and the older brother went to the U.S., got to the U.S., and then he came back and got him. You remember?
Yes.
And so his dad was going to get released after 30 years. And he had so much anger and bitter. He was going to fly, and he flew in because he knew his dad was going to be released, and he wanted to hurt his dad because dad killed his mom. No, the mom, and would have killed them if they didn't get out of there and hurt the brother or something like that. And he was going to just do whatever he wanted to, and his wife told him not to fly in, to do whatever after 30 something years to his dad. And he done built this anger up and he was in his, like, going on 40. Mm-hmm. So his dad comes out of prison, and he's this old man, limped over, and he still was ready to, and then it was like God spoke to him and said, release it. And he came back, joined the Maxwell, and he blew up from that story because he went around like-minded people, and they're like, okay, it's okay where you're at, but we're going to take you here. And that's what Larry, you, I, Charlene, everybody don't do that, right? We talk, we judge. I always say we listen, we don't judge. We listen, we don't judge. Because where they're at today, you guys, I can be there tomorrow. Yes. So if we don't understand that sometimes our job is to be that bridge, look, that bridge will get you to wherever you need to get in life. If you just sometimes just stop listening and be like, dang, my life wasn't that bad. Yeah. It's just, when you hear those stories, I'm like, wow. But she was so happy, and Larry's right. I didn't remember. Larry didn't remember. He did his purpose. I was at that table one day. She was telling me all the stories. Didn't remember her name, but I remembered the story.
The story, yes.
The story always sometimes bring you to the forefront. And even what we do with homes, first generational buyers, right? Yes. A lot of times they can't go back and tell mom and dad and sister and cousin they get in the house. Next thing you know, all that fear, everything comes up. I had one walk away just this year. First time home buyer, living in an apartment 13 years, and she walked away, you guys. And she was getting a check at the table.
She walked away from the transaction?
Yes.
And again, we talk
$200. I think it's $150 or $200 more she would be paying in that house. And she questioned the equity of them selling it for like $40,000 more in 3 years. And I'm like, and just in the end, she just walked away because she went back and used that leverage and negotiated and got her apartment back at the same price. And I'm like, wow. And sometimes you're being the dead horse.
Yeah.
And you Larry's like,
yeah, she wasn't focused enough on the prize. The distance prize.
She was happy to close, and then what summer, I don't know if it was Memorial Day or 4th of July, went to a family thing. They stayed the weekend together. She came back and said she wasn't buying.
But that's where I think, especially when we talk about cultures, that is so important. That first home dream program, that first home, there's a program that was in
everybody has it.
Right. And so I really feel like my parents owned. So I knew what it meant to own. But if you never had anybody close,
or if you're 80% don't own in your generation, guess what? And you're still saying the what ifs. And I don't even care if you got a kid. Like, I always tell them, look, the same way you have a baby and either you get a home, you got to understand, you make adjustments for your job. You're going to make adjustments if a repair, or reach out to me where I can send somebody there to help you. but more so importantly, our mindsets. It's who we hang around, what we do, what we become.
Yes.
And yeah, I go out and like I hear these stories. I'm like, wow. And something like that one, I was preaching every day, like every day. And we go in,
yeah,
and
you just mentioned about that who you hang around, but also in reference to their mindset and trying to reach that goal. I think your environment, have something to do with your protecting you and protecting your
right.
your vision. And so, talk about individuals that are, that maybe have already purchased a home. What about what they can do to help protect it, so they can, to have it for the long term, to have it for life, to have it for transitional and to wealth. How can they protect that?
More so, I always say protect it by always doing maintenance. Don't live in a house 20, 30 years, you guys, and just think you're never going to change anything, do anything. And more so, even if times get tough, reach out to people like Charlene and Larry, or even Operation Hope, where they're there to bridge those factors to give you a financial budget to create. Because sometimes we got to go and do that extra thing like DoorDash. We got to go over here, or we might have got to cut the subscriptions down.
Right.
Or cut the casino down in our area, because we fight against the casino. The casino wins, and home ownership, sometimes we lack that knowledge because we think entertainment is a part of, like she said, our culture. And what I learned in that course, what you're talking about, because you're talking about 20 years, I caught what you said, Charlene, when you first started 20 years ago, that gap, you're totally right. It only fluctuated, you guys, from 1968 after the first census to 1978 from 33 to 36%, not even 33, it was 36%, 38%, 35%. And now we're at about 44% in almost 60 years in home ownership with minorities. It's sad because whenever I did that diversity class, people that come over from Asia across, I said, the water, right? They're taught to come here and work 10 times harder to get that citizenship, to say, look, I'm going to own a home, and that means I'll be a citizen, and you got to save that 20%.
We had one, I think, within 12 to 24 months from her country to ours, purchased a home.
Yep. I just closed one a few months back. And she didn't have, the law changed where if you didn't have citizenship, you had to go to conventional and put the money down. She was fine with it. We just had to get the husband to qualify because he lacked credit, and she just had a new baby. But more so, she was okay with it. And with that being said, we got to understand that the assets, even with working, I just always say this. And I said this at Operation Hope, and they said it. I'm like, oh, I'm in the right room. Because real estate, you guys, it beats 401k any day. It kills it. Like, literally kills it. If you invest into real estate and you look at your 401k, how it evolves, it changed with the stock market, right? Let me tell you, on a bad, real estate's going to kill it. I don't even care if the market go down, it's going to come up 10, 15%
right
higher. And even like John used this scenario, lady called and she was getting a $750,000 loan on VA, right? And she was retiring, but she's working at the post office, He didn't question it, but she was like, oh, buying a mortgage in the U.S., I just want y'all to know it's a scam. It's a scam. The interest is high. It's a scam. So he just, he went in because somehow somebody referred the thing to him like, oh, it's a scam, It's a scam because you're going to own all these interests, And he was like, so you telling me it's a scam for you to get no down payment, right, at that $750. And if you go and look at the numbers within 10 years in that area is growing. That's why that number's at $750 in that area. And most of the homes are going up double. Look at the stats. Get the knowledge. And I'm like, oh, this is my wrong right here because I love economics. That's the one thing I did pass you guys in college, because I love economics, because the numbers got to make sense.
Right.
The numbers make sense, and where you find it, like Charlene said, the division, the gap, that's where you serve. That's where the money, that's where the wealth is.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, I think if you go through with that, and hopefully we all have opportunity to live in that cycle where maybe in the senior years to get individuals to look beyond where they are now, where you can, hopefully have a peace of mind. Now, would that be really nice to have a peace of mind? And I'm not saying, because at one time I was thinking, when I'm 60 years old, I want my mortgage to be paid off. But now, because I have multiple mortgages, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and I just talked to my uncle this week, and he was like, "Niecy, so you telling me I wouldn't have to pay $25,000, $30,000 taxes if I get another?" Yeah, you mean to tell me you've been paying that and you didn't know that? Who was trying to tell me? Like, you got to go out here and get this knowledge, because you guys, we get stuck and we got to pay our mortgage down. That's the way to pay. Yeah. Look, keep the mortgage, use the asset as a tax write-off, right? Yeah. And then you turn around and use that equity and go and invest again, and you build that legacy and wealth. Yeah. That's what it's about. Because I would rather any day, and Lord knows, these car notes, I always bought cars cash, but then when you start doing real estate, other things, you got to have write-offs, right? But only thing I can tell you, I would never have a car note if I didn't have a house, because that house means so much to me more than that vehicle, right? It's because I know the wealth is going to bring a ROI, rate of return investment, in those 3 to 5 to 10 years. Yes. And I had a girl, and I'm going to say this, Larry, she lived in an apartment. She was an accountant. If she's looking at 80, she already knows who she is. But anyway, and she was like, "Rosita, I just don't want to buy it." We contracted a house. 2 days before closing, she wouldn't answer the phone with our house. She wouldn't answer. They're now peeping out the blinds in the apartment, right? And I was like, "Girl, this is the best return." And she lived there forever. Wind up, she went on to purchase that home. And I just sold that home, and she only lived there for 5 years. And she got about $60,000. And she couldn't believe. She said, "Girl, you mean to tell me there's no way I'm going to da-da-da-da-da-da?" And I was like, see there?
Yeah. Do you think she would have been able to save that in 5 years if she tried?
No.
Unless she had a really good cash flow.
Relocated. She kept the 3 kids, and they went downtown.
I mean, cash flow, you have to save $20,000 a year. Some can, but it depends. You got to make, you got to have a cash flow. But
cash flow, even with people that invest in the stock market, which Larry's one of those, I'm sure, right? Larry gonna invest more in that real estate, because he knows it's going to get that return, even though the stock will too, right? But that write-off, that tax liability, not tax liability, taking care of the tax liability, but you guys know what I'm trying to say, is important. That wealth that you can get on purchasing a home is very important. I believe in it. I preach it. Yes. Like, I really preach it.
Yes. And, I know we're empowering our community out there and really encourage them. This, real estate, property investment, home ownership. It is definitely one of the best ways to that you can transfer generational wealth. And like I said, it outdo the majority of the other investments that you can think about.
So, Larry, let me ask you this, because I did talk to somebody a few weeks ago. And the guy's like, "Oh my gosh, I had a commercial property at the event downtown Montgomery, and I sold it for $150. Now, downtown Montgomery is going, like where I'm from, going like anywhere between $600, $800. He's like, "I hate it. I should have never did it. And how do you feel about your first home, or what home you purchased, and the wealth that you own when you go and invest? What I mean by that, when you go and invest as your primary home, what do you advise people to do in order to get that ROI?"
Yes. Well, my first home that I purchased personally, I bought it in 1985. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with the home, and I only lived there for 19 months. and I came back to Fort Bragg again the second time. I'd been overseas for 6 years. And so that house had been rented out for 6 years. And so I came back, I had a larger family. So I went 2 miles down the road and bought a second house. But about that first home.
That's it, Larry.
Yeah. And
but see, even military people are scared to do what you just did, but you knew the wealth of it.
Yes. And so that first home was the springboard for me to get the second home. But it was also the springboard to get the third one as well. And so in talking about paying a mortgage off, well, I probably refinanced the home about 4 times.
And when you got more properties and invested.
Yes, I refinanced it and I was able to pay it off. I've been able to pay it off each time as well. So I didn't have to. And so, but having that option, whether to pay off or not, you know, so in reference to selling a property and getting from underneath it, I would ask the person, look at their cash flow. Look at the cash flow. Yes, you want to build assets. You want to, you know, pay your house off. You want to have assets that you know solid, but also look at how you're living, and also, you know, and also your investment, your family, your standard of living, your portfolio is going to grow. And so by having an asset that can help you grow and have that foundation, I would say hold on to it.
I agree because I used to believe like, you know what, pay the house off, pay more. And then I'm like, no, you don't do it this way. You take it and multiply it and it grows in those areas because you go and look, get a great agent, find the area where it's growing, especially military areas. Military areas, like in Montgomery, we got 36109. You can always go and find something in that area where you can actually flip or do whatever, but you got to just keep watching. And you can find those great homes in order for people to build, and it's a safety area. You're going to have different ups and downs, but more so diverse area where you can actually grow and get that ROI. And that is it.
But I would definitely tell a person to talk to you know, financial advisor, and also talk to the professionals, because each person's situation is a little bit different. It's a little bit different. And some people need that security and they need a foundation. So you know, by establishing, I would say, you know, more than one real estate property. One, it may be a little risky, draining all the equity out of it and investing, you know, but if you don't have to drain all of it out, you know, make sure that you leave there. And also, when I say taking equity out, affordability, the cash flow is very important, because you can go and get $100,000, you know, line of credit or whatever, and do an investment or whatever. But if you have to pay that back, $100,000, is it a line of credit? Can you pay it back in 15 years? Is there a second mortgage on the home? And do you have the cash flow to withstand that risk?
That's right.
In case your investment or, you know, do not pay off in time. And so you want to look at that to make sure that you're not, you know, sending yourself back into poverty or risk of foreclosure, bankruptcy.
Yeah. And then also, you guys, on investment, if people own home and they want to try to say, well, how could I start investing? If you find the right property, a lot of people don't know you can do, if it's 65% ACV, they got programs where you don't have to put money down. You just, sometimes the mortgage company will assume the risk if it's 65% ACV of, you know, whatever the value is, average cost value. And you can go in and create wealth. People do it all the time. When you see these investment guys say, oh, I bought this property, they gave me money back at the table. Well, they gave them the money back at the table in order to go and fix that property. So there's avenues out there to start investing. Okay. And then sometimes, you know, even us, you guys, a lot of people don't know, if you don't have the down payment, you can actually get it from 401k a lot of times.
Yes.
Because that 401k go up and down, you guys.
Hey, Resenta, again, I want to tell you happy birthday. And we got like 30 seconds. And we're going to have you back again. We're going to have you back again on Thursday.
I had to rush and get in here.
Yes.
I'm in Atlanta, so I had to come to see the grandkids and love on them for, that's what we work for, the legacy, right?
Yes. Okay. So we're going to have you back on next Thursday. Everyone, continue to follow us on social
media.
All right.
Thank you, Charlene. Look, Charlene, I love the crispy in the back. I love it. Thank you guys for having me. Bye.
Right. I'll see you next time, next Thursday. Bye-bye.